Bulls Nation, free agency was supposed to be for the Chicago Bulls and has been for a few days a joyous occasion where players, fans across the world that have supported the Chicago Bulls or wish for us to do well would be celebrating. And unfortunately, with the news yesterday of these tampering allegations, that mood has shifted straight down to that targeting the NBA, targeting what they're doing to us, and of course the Miami Heat as well, and how it is really much a pick and choose type of situation, and not every team will get, I guess, investigated. However, many other teams potentially should. So today's video is going to be discussing a player that in the end is part of this tampering investigation, Lonzo Ball, and my discussion of how confident I am he will be a Chicago Bull. I'm going to be discussing what exactly he would bring to the Chicago Bulls. I was going to wait until a later date to do this, but this is my message to show that I'm absolutely confident that Lonzo Ball will be a Chicago Bull next season, this upcoming season, and I don't feel in that area we need to worry. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit about some free agency news, and let's talk about Lonzo Ball in this video. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls related video referring to some free agency news, and of course we're going to be discussing what Lonzo Ball can bring to the Chicago Bulls. We're going to go a little bit more in detail of how I think his play style will affect the Chicago Bulls going forward, and just overall how good he'll be for us and where I think he could take us as the point guard of the Chicago Bulls. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls free agency news and how good Lonzo Ball will be for this team. I'm making this video in full confidence that Lonzo Ball will be a Chicago Bull next season. I find it hard to believe the NBA would do something as drastic as voiding an NBA contract, especially when we've wanted this player for well over a year. And the fact that we've been discussing with him heavily since the trade deadline, I don't think this is a situation where the NBA will void Lonzo Ball. But let's talk about more free agency news. To be honest, there is only one situation in free agency that we are all concerned about, and that is Lauri Markkanen. I don't think anything else is going to be coming to the Chicago Bulls except for figuring out what's going to happen with Lauri Markkanen. There is reports, and I believe this is true from the last time I checked. Maybe things have changed, but Lauri Markkanen has unfollowed all Chicago Bulls related accounts, including the Chicago Bulls on social media. This is, I believe, a message from Lauri Markkanen to tell the Chicago Bulls that they're wasting time and they need to hurry up and sign and trade him. At the end of the day, there are still teams on the table looking to sign Lauri Markkanen, the latest being the Dallas Mavericks are interested in getting a player like Lauri Markkanen. I think this is the indication that Lauri Markkanen is trying to tell the Bulls to speed things up and let's get this over the line and let's just get that fresh start going. That's what I feel Lauri Markkanen, is doing. And at the end of the day, that's his right to do. I don't really like the situation of him unfollowing us. It's not like, in the end, we've disrespected him in any way. He's the one that wants to leave the Chicago Bulls. In the end, it is taking a lot of time, but all of this tampering news is affecting what we can do in free agency without these days. If this hasn't been a big announcement about the tampering issues, maybe the Chicago Bulls would have already dealt Lauri Markkanen somewhere. At the end of the day, I'm not really sure about what this means for Lauri Markkanen. Obviously, this has hindered the Bulls in some way, but at the end of the day, Lauri Markkanen still needs to be a player that has to be dealt with the Chicago Bulls. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there is much movement on the Bulls' part to get rid of Lauri Markkanen, which is why Lauri Markkanen is trying to force it a little bit. At the end of the day, he still has some time. It's not going to be a quick fix for Lauri Markkanen. Maybe in a few hours, maybe within a few days, it could potentially happen. But him unfollowing the Chicago Bulls basically means that this is the beginning of the end for Lauri Markkanen, in my opinion. I think eventually he'll get his sign and trade. I just find it hard to believe that he won't get a sign and trade with the Chicago Bulls. I just seriously don't believe that won't happen. So keep your eyes out on that. Again, this is basically has been in the news every single day when it comes to free agency. Something is new happening with Lauri Markkanen. Teams are interested in Lauri Markkanen. More teams are interested in Lauri Markkanen. And now it looks like Lauri Markkanen is trying to force his way out. So that's where I see things going. and we'll see what happens with that. It's a message, I believe, for the Chicago Bulls to hurry it up and make the decision already of where he wants to go, which trade he's going to accept, and if there's a team willing to pay salary, let's get that going and let's make it quick. That's basically what I believe Lauri Markkanen is trying to do. Now moving on to Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball, in my opinion, is going to be a fantastic player for the Chicago Bulls in more ways than one. First things first, as the point guard of the Chicago Bulls, he's going to have a lot of responsibility to elevate this team, both on the playmaking side of the game and the structure of how we play. This is in many ways Lonzo Ball's team from the point guard position. He's going to be a fantastic spot-up shooter when you have players like DeMar DeRozan handling the ball, Zach LaVine handling the ball, Nikola Vucevic in the post. He will become a fantastic spot-up shooter in relation to when he is playing a little bit off the ball. He's not always going to be on the ball for the Chicago Bulls. I think we can all agree on that. As good as Lonzo Ball is, he's not always going to be an on-ball player for the Chicago Bulls, which is where his spot-up ability is going to take a massive, massive step forward, in my opinion, for the Chicago Bulls. He's a fantastic player on the fast break. That is another reason why I think Lonzo Ball is going to be massive for this team. Because the way that I see it, we're extremely diverse in the way that we play. We're going to be in a position where all starting 5 players will start the game together, but there are going to be some players that will play with the bench, similar to the way the Brooklyn Nets and really any good team with amazing talent on their team, an amazing starting 5, you usually have 1 or 2 players that will play with the bench mob, and they can get well communicated with them and they can play with them. I truly feel like Lonzo Ball will start the game for the Chicago Bulls, but will play a lot of minutes with some of the bench mob of this team, because we will be a very fast-oriented team when our bench is in. When our bench is in, the pace will click into gear. We'll be an extremely fast team. When you have players like Kobe White that likes to push the tempo, Aidan that likes to push the tempo, you have Tony Bradley that's going to be a good rim runner for the Chicago Bulls at the center position. You're going to have a lot of fast-oriented play, and that suits Lonzo Ball to a T. So he might start the game for the Chicago Bulls, and in that way he will take a little bit priority. We'll have to slow the ball down in many ways as well to help Nikola Vucevic, who again is not an extremely fast player. And he may push the tempo in some instances, but for the most part, it's a slow time when the starting lineup comes in. We're going to be playing a little bit slower. We're going to get the ball to the right players, make the right plays from the half-court sets, and we're going to do that. And DeMar DeRozan, in my opinion, will have a good responsibility with that as well, but so will Lonzo Ball. But the bench mob, as soon as that comes in, as soon as Kobe White comes in, as soon as Dosunmu comes in, as soon as Troy Brown Jr. comes in, as soon as Tony Bradley comes in, as soon as any of those players comes on for the Chicago Bulls, we will be a faster team. We'll push the tempo. Lonzo Ball would get all those amazing full court passes, half court pass ability plays for the Chicago Bulls. I really think that is where Lonzo Ball is going to be best accommodated when it comes to the Chicago Bulls. He'll start for this team, but he will also get a lot of game time with a lot of the bench mob on this team, and he will make them much better than what they would be without him. He will elevate the bench to become, in my opinion, one of the more interesting and one of the better benches in the league. I won't go far as to say it's the best bench in the league, because it's still a very young bench. Even though you have Caruso, Lonzo Ball, them play together. They played together before. But the bench is still very young, so I'm not going to call it the best bench in the league, because there's still a lot more work and a lot more development in those players. But Lonzo Ball will make them better. I have no question about that. Starting lineup and the bench, Lonzo Ball will do it all for the Chicago Bulls at that point guard position. He'll be able to push the tempo with the bench. He'll be able to slow it down with the starting lineup. And he'll be able to really become an effective spot-up shooter when you have Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, Patrick Williams. Lonzo Ball is going to get open shots on this team when you have a lot of unselfish players that can rely on heavy three-point shooting. Lonzo Ball is going to get a good amount of shots in the starting lineup. And the bench is when he could truly elevate himself and become the Lonzo Ball that we all know him to be. On the defensive end, we were one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. And I'm not just talking about perimeter defense. I know many people are saying the Bulls were one of the worst perimeter defensive teams in the NBA. Yes, we were. But don't don't give credit to the interior defense of this team because it was still non-existent for the Chicago Bulls. That's why Lauri Markkanen and Vucevic couldn't play together. That's why at times Wendell Carter struggled because he seemed to be the only rim protector on the team. That's why Daniel Gafford struggled because he was the only rim protector on the team. The rim protection in this team, trust me, does not deserve credit compared to the perimeter defense. They were both equally as bad as each other, in my opinion. The perimeter defense on this team is going to improve leaps and bounds with Lonzo Ball on the team, but I also feel, in some way, that interior defense is also going to improve with Lonzo Ball on the team because there's not going to be a lot more cuts compared to what you'd see last year. Not many players will try to force their way into the paint. When you have good perimeter defense, you're stopping players from going to where they need to be. Our perimeter defense with Lonzo Ball will improve dramatically, and I truly believe our interior defense will somewhat improve with Lonzo Ball in the team. He just makes our team overall better defensively. A good defensive point guard can take you a long way in this league. And we've seen it throughout the course of the NBA. A lot of good NBA players have really good defensive-minded point guards. Even the Milwaukee Bucks right now that have won the NBA championship, their point guard was Jrue Holiday, who many people consider the best defensive guard in the NBA. A lot of NBA players think he's the best defensive guard in the NBA. That's not something that you can say about every player in the league. Lonzo Ball is a good defensive player that can get better and better every year, and he will do that at a very good rate. He will play perimeter defense. He will make sure that there's the three-point percentage of other teams against us will go down significantly. He will make sure that not many players will try to enter the paint as well. And that's when obviously you have Nikola Vucevic, you have Patrick Williams, who will be more interior defensive oriented as well. That's when those players will come in and help Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan out. This is where I see Lonzo Ball's most effectiveness for the Chicago Bulls. The fact that he's able to pick up the tempo with the bench, the fact that he's able to get open shots with the starters, the fact that he's able to bring both interior and perimeter defense, and the fact that he will be so diverse and this team will be so diverse that really you could get the best out of Lonzo Ball in any lineup that we have on the court. And I like the fact that we have such a great starting lineup that some of them will play on the bench. That's why I truly believe. I remember way back when the Boston Celtics had 3 All-Stars and they had 4 players averaging 20 points per game. They had Kemba Walker averaging 20 points per game. They had obviously Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum averaged 20 points per game. And they had Gordon Hayward averaging 20 points per game as well. Those 4 players had effective scoring as the starting lineup, and some of them came off the bench at times. I'm not saying Lonzo Ball is going to be a 20 point per game player. I don't believe he will be that, but I expect him to take leaps in his scoring, mid-range, slashing to the basket, 3-point shot. And I expect the Chicago Bulls with Nikola Vucevic, with DeMar DeRozan, and with Zach LaVine, to all 3 of them have really good scoring opportunities for this team. And I expect them all pretty much to average 20 or a little bit over 20 points per game, with Lonzo Ball still being an effective scorer on the team as well. We have a fantastic team here, in my opinion. We have a very well-balanced team, and we have a team that, in my opinion, can really, really work. I truly think our team is scary, and I'm very excited to see just how good we can be or what we do need to work on. But that's where I see Lonzo Ball's impact coming the most. That's where I see the real Lonzo Ball coming out. Again, I'll repeat myself. Being more of a scorer with I guess the starting lineup, getting a lot of open 3-point shots, because he will, and at the rate that he shoots them, he will make a lot of them as well, slowing the tempo down with the starting lineup. But when the bench comes in and he's playing with the bench, the tempo picks right up. We're a fast, very energetic team, and we can switch it on a dime. Whatever we need, Lonzo Ball can provide. And of course, the defense will help as well. Again, very, very good player here. This is why he makes so much sense. And these are just the minor details. You could go well and truly in detail of how Lonzo Ball can potentially be a good player for the Chicago Bulls. But these are the things that I see really coming out of Lonzo Ball. We'll talk about DeMar DeRozan. We'll talk about Alex Caruso as well in other videos. But this is my message to say, Lonzo Ball is going to be a great player for the Chicago Bulls, and I have no question in my mind he's going to remain here, and he's going to be an effective player for the Chicago Bulls. Tampering or not, punishments or not, Lonzo Ball will be a Chicago Bull. I am very confident in that being the case. According from what many other people have been saying, many other people are very confident in that as well. If the NBA goes that drastic, I don't think they're going to like their backlash they're going to get from the rest of the league, especially when there are other teams around the league that have done the same thing and have openly admitted to doing it, and they seem to get away with it. So let's see what happens in terms of that. But thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, a little bit of a longer one. I will see you in another Chicago Bulls video. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care.